Good morning, everybody. Today is Sunday, July 6th. Hope everyone had a fantastic 4th. We're going to get right into it with this futures markets breakdown. Today, we're going to be talking about a lot of the all-time high plays that we're coming off the indexes. Then we're going to look into commodities such as oils, and we're going to hit our metals, of course. Took advantage of the short week last week, and we're looking to come back and, of course, exploit a normal week. Things to look out for this week on the economic calendar are the Fed minutes Wednesday, and I think you got the unemployment claims on Thursday. So those are the two big red folder items that you need to be aware of. I don't know how much the Fed minutes are going to move the markets this time around, just because I think we're kind of in this, I don't want to call it a stagflation period, but just like a holding period where the Fed's not cutting rates. They're also not raising rates, but the market's just waiting. Once they cut rates and they give a future outlook on more cuts, I think the market continues its all-time high run once again. But right now, let's get into it with a little breakdown on oil. Oil, as you see, we continue to just chop around in this range. Starting to get a little breakout up there, but it could not break over that 67.50 mark. Technically 67.57, but I would set my alerts over there. You see the Elliott wave theory on the 1 hour has got us coming down, breaking up on a wave B. Everything's still bearish. So I would actually look to short this into the week and come back down into the 64.5 range. Once back down here, you can run it back up as we talked about last week. Pretty simple. Until we break out of this range, it is range bound. Play the range. Do not prematurely get in the break. Just play it for what it is. Yes, we're looking at it. All-time high run again. Looking at it on the 1 hour time frame here, you see that you got area of support right there. Came up, consolidated. I think that we end up, if we lose this level right here of 62.65, 62.66 area, we'll see 6,200, a retest of that area. I do think that we get some sort of a little bit of a rally to come back up and kind of tickle the all-time highs before we come back down, a true ABC pattern. But if we continue to sink, in reality, if we crack under 62.76 earlier in the week, I think that this will continue to push down to that 62.65 mark. And if this is lost, we will plunge down. And 6,200 might not be where we stop. I mean, you've got some support right there at 61.84 or 61.84, and then coming back down to 61.56 is the next level. So just watch that. Indicators are all bearish on the 1 hour. So if that flips, if this changes back to bear or changes back to bullish, you get the bear bull impulse to change and all that other stuff. I think that we have a basis for it to go back up. But I would like for these indicators to change at a level of support before I took it, and for it to inevitably break a downtrend line. Going back to gold. Gold, like we talked about last week, came down, consolidated at this area, and then came back up. On the 1 hour, let's see. Let's kind of pull back out a little bit here on the 4 hour. Gold might be a little bit range bound too. It's kind of playing off this area down here. Not as clear as the oil play that we had earlier. If this breaks below 33, 35 area, I'd look to play it back down to 32.74 and below. If it breaks up above 33.76, I would look to play it back up to the recent kind of all-time high area, 34.50 to 3,500 area. I know that's a wide range on gold, but as you guys know, any sort of currency or metal, it happens to have a wide range. That's why, it's better to get on the move down than to get stopped out on a tight stop. So that's kind of what my outlook is on gold. Going into Bitcoin here, you see that on the 4 hour, everything's looking bearish again. We did not claim the resistance level here of 111 like we had talked about in our video last week. We thought that it would, come back down. I'm sorry, up here. We thought that it would come back down to 104, but I said look for it to either continue up here or to come back down and crack below this. We currently have, I know there's a lot of lines on here, guys, so bear with me. But we're starting to form an uptrend right here. Okay. If this line right here is broken, I'll entertain shorts given the bearish connotation. But if we continue to push back up and we go back over 111 here, then I'm looking for 113 and a push into all-time highs. So I am actually going to set that as my alert right there for BTC. Zooming into the 30-minute time frame, you see that this might be a wave C down. You see that we're getting the take profit on the trend indicator here. That could signal our our bullish outlook for that move back up. Just really depends. We're at a make it or break it point. This will be something that I will be watching into the open on Sunday. If we do get a breakdown on open underneath this trend line that we had just established, I'm not going to jump in short. I'm going to give it some time. I'm going to let it open. It was a long weekend. Let the markets digest anything and everything that happened over the weekend. Let everyone get their FOMO out. You know, um, Sunday scaries. Probably play the London Open versus the Asian Open. All right. We already did ES. Let's get into MNQ. This is one of our favorites over there at Obsidian and at the Traders Lounge. This is the 4 hour here, and we had talked about the fireworks being over for the all-time highs earlier, and that we could probably see a pullback. Honestly, the economic data this week probably will play into that. If the Fed minutes aren't what we expected, I know I said earlier that it shouldn't move it too much, but given that we're at all-time highs, all eyes will probably be on any sort of economic data moving forward. When the market's in this euphoric state, at all-time highs and it keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, it seems like you just can't go down. Any bad news will trigger a quick sell-off. So just be aware of that and be vigilant of it. Right here, you see that we got our key level, and that was the prior high before at 22,950, 934 area, let's say. Basically 23,000. 23,000 whole number is a good one. Now, you got what appears to be what they're thinking is the top of wave 5 here at 23,100. Which is normal. A whole number, all-time push, breaks over, pushes up, goes to the next kind of whole number at 23,100. I know that's not like a true whole number, like 24,000 or 23,000, but it is another key level that is like a psychological thing for most people. And so what you got is the pullback that we played into Friday, into Friday close, the early close, and overnight Thursday we played it. Now, right here, you're getting the sell-off at the 4 hour. Trend indicators going red. Bear bull impulse is still green. But we are under that previous high, which is now what we were trying to play it as support. And that's what we got right here. You know, it kind of looked like it was going to hold up, here. But now, after the close, it looks like we were looking for a move back down. Now, are these 4 hour levels going to be in play here? The wave A coming down to the 38 fib. I would think so. I think that would be a nice clean sell-off down to this shelf of support. There's a lot of support in this area. So I would look if we do get the signal to go short later in the week, I would play it there. I know the 1 hour is just red hot bearish, but it might have a little bit of a pullback up before it ends up coming back down. That's why I'm saying at the beginning of the week, let it play out. Don't just think, okay, cool, we're gonna start selling off. You know, look for confirmation. Now we're gonna go over to platinum real quick before we get into YM and RTY. Platinum once again could not crack over 1440. It tried, came back down, sold off, but we found support here. Now we're coming back up. If this wave B materializes, yes, but it's bullish on our indicators. So I don't see the ABC materializing. Let's see what the 4 hour got. Same thing. 4 hours calling for a massive pullback to 1275. Like I said, these indicators are great. Gives you a little bit of a path, but I would like to see it for this wave C to actually be valid. I would like to see the 1340 level break and fall before I took any shorts. And as long as this 1390 level holds, basically if 1400 holds, you can look to play this long. And even more so if it breaks over this 1450 level. Getting into RTY. RTY has been on a rip. We did say earlier last week that if it did not break down that wave 4, which I think should be on the 1 hour, right? Yeah. I said that it was going to come down, test close low to this level, right here and then come back up. And that's exactly what it did. We're looking for this support level right here at 2240 to hold and for another push back up. Will that push go to all-time highs? I don't think so. It's kind of the same thing we're looking at on the other indexes, but you just want to watch it. This right here hasn't even broken the downtrend yet, and that's the biggest thing. If you're going to play the upside, scalp it, because I think the upside is going to be muted going into this week, just because of how much we've had. I think that there might be a little bit of a sell-off there, and like I said, the economic data might dictate that. But if this doesn't break here, there's nothing to play the upside or watch it, and then just wait for it to come back down. We're looking at YM here, which is the Dow. The Dow is bearish, a little bit more so than the other ones. This one's got a clearer path for me, at least, just because it's at the all-time highs that is not broken over. This is a little bit more of a concise, or like a a better A plus setup on the bearish side, because you have all this resistance right here that it has failed to get over. We're starting to curl right at resistance, came right up to it, touched it, and now we got the sell signal on the 4-hour. The bear bull impulse is green. It's kind of a little choppy right there, but once it goes back red, I think that it does come back down to this 43.5 or even down to 43,000 level. So if there was any ticker that I would be looking at that has more of an A plus bearish setup, it'd be YM. But that's it, guys. As always, if you got any questions or comments, drop them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're over there on a few different Discords now. Monica's Prop Traders, Obsidian, Traders Lounge. We're kind of like a mercenary for trading. But come check us out. We're going to start trading live overnight, probably the Asian Open, and then we'll do the London Open. And we've got Francis and CJ breaking down the 9:30 New York Open. So a bunch of live trading opportunities there. There's a bunch of call outs live. You'll always be tagged. Come check us out. Let us know what you think about these plays going into the week. And as always, this is just for educational purposes. So let's make it a green week. Trade safe, manage your risk, and I look forward to hearing from every single one of you.